to Nisargadatta, when you are everything, even when the bomb goes off, you are not going anywhere, or to that effect. Yeah, there's nowhere the space can go. We talked about that. The whole world blows up, but space was the only way you knew about a world is because there was space around it. Now the space is just space. There's no more world. So you don't know that the space is there. There's no objects appearing in the space that you would have your attention to anything, but it's there. It's the foundation. It's the, I think they call it substratum, although I never knew that word. I should look that word up because they use that a lot. But it's like the foundation, like Maharaj says. Mm-hmm. Everything is arising on your spontaneous presence. And once the intention is invited of the invisible listener and intuitively it sees from what position it's seeing this attention being drawn, like I said, you're the worm on the hook and the selfless self is the fish, and you're trying to attract the attention to realize that this thing out here is basically just an instrument to attract the attention of selfless self, because selfless self needs to see this instrument and say, oh, I can use this, but I'm not this. All of this is appearing out here on the screen of this mind, and from the position that I'm witnessing all of this, I can't be in it. I know this. This intuition will come. I'm not in this scene. I'm not in this that seemingly this instrument is able to perform in this, but from where I'm seeing this, there's an intuition that says this is on the screen of mind. I can't be here, and here is prior to here.
You know, it's pulling away from here through prior to here. That is the challenge. It's the pulling away, kind of like, because sometimes you're left with feelings of, well, I'm being not really responsible, but maybe sometimes, but also not being fair to people or whatever. You know, it's just all that sort of like the conditioned ideas that we have that build up over years and years and years, that moving back to prior to, I mean, you know, from here to prior to here, that pulling away, it's kind of like, that's the challenge. I mean, and that's where the mantra is actually done.
You can't do it. It has to be mantra. Mantra is for the sole purpose of inviting the invisible listener that can do that. That can do that through the perception of perceiving from where this perceiving is. You, the individual person or whatever, as long as you're having an idea that you are somebody else that can do something, you use that, like I said, the bait on the hook. And the more that worm wiggles, the more the fish is drawn to that worm. Wiggle is mantra. Wiggle is, what do you call it, bhajan. Wiggle is listening to the master, bowing to the masters, constantly remaining with your selfless self is that worm wriggling on the hook. And that big fish that you are, selfless self, then sees, and the attention is drawn. And the attention through ceaseless devotion to your selfless self, I don't want to say rewarded, but the outcome of that, as Maharaj says, the outcome of this devotion, the selfless self, mantra, bhajan, the perceiving is this, that you are, sees, but I can't be in this. There is an intuition, there is an intuitive seeing on the screen of mind, and this body form from which I believe I'm seeing from could not possibly see in this way. Who am I? And there is nothing in back of that seeing.